Welcome to your Joyful Life podcast, episode 13. I'm one of your hosts, Evan Wainberg, and together with Michael Fall, today we're going to be talking about the role of compassion in living a joyful life.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Welcome to episode 13 of your Joyful Life podcast, and that's Evan, and I'm Mike, and we are going to be talking about compassion. So all things compassion, and yeah, we'll see where we go.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts to start us off? Oh my goodness, my belly.
Yeah, I wonder if the mic picks up your rumbling belly.
Hopefully not. If it does, I apologize. Oh, all right. Settle
down there. So yeah, I thought Julie, your lovely wife, has mentioned on a few occasions after listening to our podcast that despite this being called Your Joyful Life podcast, that we maybe don't talk about joy enough.
Right, yeah.
And somehow what came up was the idea of greater compassion.
Yeah.
And at least in my own experience, I didn't really think about compassion until I started studying Buddhism, where compassion is sort of a big thing.
Right.
But when you are not feeling compassion or not thinking about compassion, I think we tend to be more self-centered.
Yeah.
So like, it's my life, what's going on, and other people become impediments to what you are trying to accomplish, or people use the term NPCs for video game non-playable characters, right? So like, you're playing a video game and you're running around. There's all these other people in the game, but they're not real people. They're just background that you can sort of interact with, but they're not really part of the. They don't have their own.
They're not part of the fabric of the story. Well,
they could be, but they're not doing their own thing. Right? They're just sort of algorithms that are running around. And I think when we get busy and focused and stressed, other people start to feel like that to us. Like, that's not another human having their own unique experience in the world. That's just someone who's getting in my way.
Right.
I had to call the government yesterday. I got a piece of paper saying I had to file something, and I didn't understand what the thing was. So I thought I did. So I called the government office and said, I got this piece of paper. It's for my dad's estate. So like finance, I had to do some financial reporting, and I thought it was about paying his taxes. So I said, I'm working with a financial person to pay his taxes. And she said, this has nothing to do with that. Like, that's how the call started. I was like,
rather abrupt.
Right. Yeah. I was like, okay, no, I wasn't finished talking yet. I was like, I thought it was a 2-step process.
Right.
I was explaining the first step. This is what I need for the second. Like, she's like, you're not listening to me. Like, what I told you.
Good start.
It's like, so to me, or to her,
right,
I was just someone who was in the way of probably the end of her day or whatever paperwork
coffee break,
to do, or
lunch break,
whatever. It was 4:00. She was ready to go.
These damn people making me do my job.
Yeah. And to me, this was a person I needed help from. This, like, you only lose your second parent once. I don't have previous experience on this. Is like, how would I be expected to know?
I'm new to this. Cut me some slack.
Like,
right.
And it was so obvious to me how her lack of compassion was getting in the way of this interaction. And it had nothing to do with me, obviously. Like, I wasn't there for the first 7.5 hours of her day or life, or whatever. I was just a guy on the phone.
Yeah.
So I tried not to take it personally, and what I found was I did have compassion for whatever, I don't need to know her story. I don't need to know what's going on. She's clearly not operating at her best. And can I show some compassion? And in situations like that, my default way of doing that is to be self-deprecating.
Right.
So I just, I sort of started laughing about like, hey, I guess I'm the idiot here. I don't know what's going on. I thought it was this, thank you so much for clarifying, not calling out how.
So self-deprecating with a slice of sarcasm.
Yeah, a little bit, but not enough, not in like a biting way, just in a, like, maybe we don't have to take this so seriously.
Right. Yeah.
And anyway, by the end, I got the information I needed. I got her to laugh at, maybe how not ideal this interaction had been. And I think compassion was sort of a part of that. Like, I could have gone in guns blazing, be like, you work for me, right? right? You're the government.
Play that card.
Right.
I pay your salary.
Right. Other than not knowing the answer to this thing, I didn't do anything to deserve this. But she's already having a not great day or a not great life, right? Whatever it is. I don't need to contribute to that. And so, yeah, just having a bit of patience, a bit of compassion, a bit of lightness to the whole thing. We both ended up laughing at the end of the call. I got the information I needed.
Perfect.
She wrapped up her day.
Yeah.
And going back to the NPC thing, because I think that's a helpful way to look at it, is that the people you are interacting with on a day-to-day basis, at the grocery store, your work, or whatever, they have just as much of an internal experience of their life as you do, obviously. But we don't think about it. And I think reminding yourself of that fact compassion is a result of that. It sort of comes up when you do that, because obviously you want compassion. And other people probably deserve it too, regardless of how they're treating you in the moment or whether or not you're paying their salary.
Yeah. I could probably bring up my gym nemesis, but I'm not going to. I think compassion, or maybe start this way, lack of compassion hardens perspective, right? Like if I perceive someone in a certain way, if I don't have compassion for someone, let's say if you know someone who is struggling in their life, sort of what you're suggesting, or someone is suffering with a chronic illness or a chronic disease, or I have a dear friend who's an alcoholic, and his actions aren't always the kind of actions that you'd expect, and it would be easy, I think, to point a finger and say that's wrong, or that should be different, or that offends me, or whatever. And I think when we bring compassion into the conversation, or into look through the lens of compassion, then I think it's not that it makes things acceptable, but it removes a bit of the wrong and right of it.
That's a good way of putting
it.
Right?
Yeah. Like when we lack compassion, I think our own perspective, our own belief sort of hardens to me versus you.
Yes.
Or us versus them, right? And compassion, I'm seeing more and more as something that brings people together. If I'm not an alcoholic, I have touched alcoholism in my past life. I've more than touched it. Someone else might not have any of that experience. That doesn't mean that they can't recognize that is a human being who is struggling with something, and for that reason alone, I'll use the word deserves compassion. They deserve to not be judged based on one slice of time or one moment. They should be a compassionate approach, I think, to an interaction. We'll use the alcoholic as an example. As an alcoholic, he acts like an idiot or acts like an alcoholic. If you look at that instance, yeah, you can be pretty galvanized in how wrong they are and how right you are and whatever. But if you look at that person's life and you start to see all the good things they've done, or the not so bad things they've done, or things that you didn't know about, then it changes so I guess what I'm saying is that looking through the lens of compassion changes the person you're looking at. It changes the interaction you're having.
Yeah.
You brought compassion and humor. I think those are inextricably linked, compassion and humor. Just look at the Dalai Lama. Arguably one of the most compassionate people in the world. I mean, I don't know how you measure that. I just ask the people in the Bhutanese government about that. But yeah, when you bring in compassion to your day-to-day life, like looking through that lens, I think it's a way of minimizing separation and distinction.
Yeah,
right.
I would agree with that.
Wow, there's a person and they're struggling. Wow, I've struggled. Because we're human.
Yeah,
there's something very human. It doesn't matter what is the cause of the struggle. It's the fact that. And so this person struggles because they're an alcoholic. This person struggles because, they had a rough childhood. This person struggles because they have a perception of lack of, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But these are all human things. And compassion, I think, is a great not just a reminder that we're all human, which it is, but also that we should be living well and playing well with our environment, with people in our lives, with situations, and yeah, I mean that's kind of where it starts, I guess. Like, I mean, compassion is. I mean, the word that comes up is sort of next to godliness. I don't know if that makes any sense at all or why that came up, but there's something in compassion that I think lends itself to forgiveness.
Yes.
Right? And words like kindness come up, right? Like if I can really, and I don't know, maybe we could find a dictionary definition of compassion, but to me it seems like recognizing the humanness of everyone.
Yeah, excuse me. What I'm glad you called out the sort of the humanness of it, because when you were first talking about like using alcoholism as an example, what I was starting to hear was that compassion is conditional a little bit on excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. I've got stuff going on here. It's never the case where you can or should be compassionate because.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's not, and you don't have to, like you said, you don't have to know the story or tell the story. Yeah. This is a human being or a living creature or whatever, period. And we are all deserving of compassion. And for people who get caught up in, I know it's easy to look at someone who is doing evil things and say that person does not deserve compassion. And what I found helpful is in my study in Buddhism and yoga, they talk about Maya.
Right.
Maya is it means delusion, and it's the delusion of separation.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So we all sort of forget that we are all part of the source of everything, and
part of and are.
Yeah. And that delusion of separation is what causes, that's like the primal cause of suffering.
Yeah.
And we are all operating inside of our delusion, and that manifests in different ways that cause us suffering, that cause us to cause others suffering. There is no one except, maybe the most enlightened being who you probably have
the levitators.
Yeah. Well, even they're just sort of playing with magic. They're
right.
Yeah, they got caught up in it too, thinking, "Cool, I can fly. That's all I need to do."
Yeah.
But yeah, there is no one who is not deserving of compassion, and I think it's also important to say that doesn't mean you just let them do stuff, right?
No,
if your kid is misbehaving, right, you can deal with that with compassion. But it doesn't mean you let them continue beating up their sister or whatever.
Absolutely.
The other thing I wanted to say when you said sort of close to godliness, the other thing that came up was the term, the word namaste. Right. When you say what namaste means is, the divine in me recognizes the divine in you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the greatest word that has ever been created in any language, that to embody that concept in a single word is amazing. But
yeah, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, put more into a word. Like how could you possibly? But that idea, if you can approach, if I can approach my lady at the government on the phone, or the person who's you're having a conflict with. And remember that, like, we are both aspects of this whole thing, whatever your belief is, whether it's God specifically or whatever the story is, like
flying spaghetti monster, doesn't matter.
Yeah, we are all part of this thing that's happening, life. And if you can look at the person and remember that, I think compassion comes naturally. You don't have to take a second step to sort of generate it. I think that feeling of kinship and love and acceptance, I think all of that naturally leads to compassion. And yeah, in my little example yesterday, like I could have had a bad interaction. Both the two of us could have gone away having worse days because of it. And at least from my side, it was better than it could have been.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And you can just keep doing that all the time.
We can keep aspiring to do that all the time. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, yes.
Sure. Yes. Yes. It's not going to happen every time. But knowing that is possible, aspiring to that is just, positive ripples in the pond with the little stones, big and small.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it doesn't take much to sort of turn things in the other direction, I don't think. But it ripples out.
Yeah. I like the sort of building out that the relationship part of it, the God in me recognizes the God in you, or the diamond in me speaks to the diamond in you, or however, however we want to articulate that, and connecting to the heart of the other person, however, soul to soul. There's probably lots of ways to say it. And I wonder where that begins, right? Like we said, it's not transactional. It's not conditional. Mm-hmm. You're not compassionate for someone because of this or that. Yeah. You're just compassionate as a general way of being in the world. And I think it's probably worth at least suggesting that compassion begins with yourself. Mm. Right? That we have to.
I didn't even think about that entire conversation.
we have to have, whatever the dictionary definition of compassion is. I think it has to, again, start with how we relate to ourselves, and then how we relate to ourselves in relation to our place, our part, our fact of being both part of and also that greater thing. Right. So there's something within, I think there's something in seeing yourself as part of and the whole, no separation, that lends itself to being compassionate.
It's so funny that, like, even after studying this stuff and talking about it, we were talking about compassion, and compassion for myself didn't come up as even a passing thought.
It's funny, right? It's funny, right?
Yeah. Why is that? Why is it so hard to think about compassion for ourselves?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'll turn the tables. Why didn't you think of that? To me, that's a starting point, right?
I think absolutely.
Like it has to begin.
It's not.
But then, sorry, I cut you off here for a sec. But everything comes back to the feeling and your thinking, right? Yeah. So it's all half personalized and half God or half spirit or whatever. It's always coming back to like me and my relationship with the bigger part of who and what I am.
Right. Yes.
Right. And but anyway, yeah. So why I don't know. Why do we? I mean, why are we so hard on ourselves? Why is it easier to be compassionate or empathetic or kind to others? Why do we, kick the shit out of ourselves?
Yeah, it's funny. I remember hearing someone say, like, you would never treat your friends the same way you treat yourself, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
your heart.
If a friend was having a hard time, you would never give them the same self-talk.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yourself, like you would be compassionate.
Yeah.
I think for myself, I give myself a lot of patience and grace, which I feel like are on the
got to be on the compassion spectrum somewhere. Yeah, for sure.
But I don't think about. I don't. Maybe I just don't use that word when I think about myself. But I think a lot of people are. I don't feel like I'm hard on myself. I talk to a lot of people who are like, I'm really hard on myself. Right. I'm not that hard on myself.
No, I don't think I am anymore. I used to be really hard on myself.
Yeah, I never.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah, I never felt pressure to do things.
Maybe that's why. Not that you don't recognize this, obviously, but that there's a more immediate recognition of a need to have compassion for oneself is stronger within me than it is with you, because I struggled with that, right?
Right.
Like I was very, very hard on myself. Didn't help. If you're being hard on yourself, like quit, stop doing it because it doesn't help.
I'm sure everyone listening is going to be like, okay, I'll just stop doing that. No problem.
Just stop.
Why didn't anybody tell me before?
Yeah, that's right. Why didn't I think of that? There's something about compassion and empathy and kindness and forgiveness. All of these things kind of. Maybe we'll put some definitions into the podcast notes for this one just to see
We could take a break and look it up so we know what we're talking about.
We could do that. Yeah. All right. So we're back, and we've come up with, well, not come up with, but we've looked up the definition of compassion, and we have there's a few of them. There's a deep awareness of the suffering of another, accompanied by a wish to relieve it. And then there's literally suffering with another, a sensation of sorrow, excited by the distress or misfortune of another. That doesn't sound like what we want to be talking about. And then the third one is the deep awareness of the suffering from another or of another, coupled with a wish to relieve it. Yeah, which is interesting. I would struggle with the wish to relieve it, and I would probably articulate that differently. But the recognition of the suffering or struggle of another, with no desire to add to it.
Okay.
Right, rather than trying to relieve it, just because that doesn't jive with my view of how we create our reality.
Right.
Right. I can be kind and compassionate. I can be kind and forgiving and gentle with a person, and they're still going to make up their reality how they make up their reality now.
Right. Yeah. The compassion isn't an obligation to fix something.
Yeah.
It is, I guess, maybe what they're saying is just that,
recognize someone's struggling and be nice.
Yeah. Or like, if it were up to me, I would prefer you not have to be suffering this, but it's not.
And you are. So how can I place myself in the interaction to be as kind and compassionate as possible?
Yeah, I think that's just our role is to express that compassion. Mm-hmm. Right. I think a lot of I'm reading a relationship book called "Hold Me Tight" by Sue Johnson. I think the best relationship book I've ever read, and a lot of it is just about, are you actually hearing the person when they are telling you why they're suffering?
Right.
Right. It is not about jumping to
save anything, or to fix. Yeah. Right.
It's like, can you just sort of hold the space and let them feel heard and accepted? And a lot of us don't do a great job of that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if compassion, at least the way that I think about compassion, if that doesn't include a lack of desire to want to fix, like to allow the person to be in the place that they're with, and put an arm around them, and that's it. Right? Like if your kid thinks there's monsters in the room, well, what are you going to do? You're going to go to the kid and give him a hug and be with the person. You don't have to try to fix the monsters that aren't there. Maybe you turn on a light. I don't know what the...
Yeah, I don't think that's... I think most of us try to, like, I'll get the flashlight. I'll check under the bed in the closet first. I'll show you. Let me let's work together to make sure this is okay. Maybe it starts with the arm around.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of us... at least, was that men are from Mars, women are from Venus? At least the Mars male perspective, and that's not only for men, but like if, that side of that aspect of people is I hear a problem, you're asking for help.
Yeah.
Let me jump in and solve it for you. The Venus part is can't you just...
shut up and listen?
Yeah, just need you to hear me. Yeah.
Just listen. Yeah, so maybe compassion isn't about fixing anything. It's just about being with the person in their moment of struggle, like bringing your own awareness of self and what that means to the table or to the space so that they can experience that, maybe, if they choose to.
Yeah, I think it's just about honoring the person and the experience they're having.
Yeah.
It's just, you are having a human experience right now, and I am here.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of period. That's how I see it.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? Yeah, nothing to fix, nothing broken. Just showing up as I wonder if, compassionate. Are we at our best when we're showing up compassionately?
What's the alternative?
I don't know. Trying to fix?
Yeah, or with judgment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's us at our best.
No, and I certainly think that lack of compassion, like I said earlier, lends itself to judgment. Man, if I'm not being compassionate, I can get judgmental pretty fucking fast. I'm right, you're wrong. I know you don't you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Most of the time I don't say that out loud, but I'm thinking it. Yeah. There's something about, there's a gentleness around compassion, isn't there? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, maybe did that seem really obvious?
I'm trying to think what the alternative, like, what would aggressive compassion be?
Yeah, right. I'm so fucking compassionate.
I really hear you. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
yeah. I think I think it really is like hearing, accepting, and holding the space for the other person. You don't have to do anything, and I think what you do or try to do, or your impulse to do, I think that is at least often doing the other person a disservice. So
maybe it's not even, maybe this is semantics, but you said holding the space for the other person. I think both of us have said holding the space for the other person. Maybe compassionate, maybe being compassionate is more about holding that space in yourself and then showing up from that space that you're holding within yourself, independent of what's happening out there. Like, so it's not on behalf of the other person. You're holding a compassionate place on behalf of yourself, and then from that place within you, what shows up is the space from which you can listen, from the space from which you can be with someone without needing to fix them or judge them or,
That sounds right. Maybe that is semantic. Maybe we're, that may be.
Yeah, that might be splitting hairs there.
Yeah, I think just being in a state of compassion.
Yeah.
Again, it's not like, I'll be compassionate for myself, or now I'm thinking about being compassionate. Like I'm feeling compassion. I'm attuned to the suffering around me, and I will sort of honor that, support it. And then from there, if the other person says, this is how I need you to help or whatever, great, jump into action. Or if they just say, just be here.
Yeah.
Cool.
So maybe compassion is another sort of state of readiness, like a, I don't know, like from being compassionate, you can go in any direction as needed.
Right. It's sort of it's
like a first step before you can, it's like, okay, I'm compassionate. Okay. Put me in, coach.
Right. I was thinking it's sort of the default state before you run of the, like, it's not a doing. I'm not being.
Yeah.
I'm not doing compassion. I am being compassionate.
Compassionate. Yeah.
Like that is
being compassionate.
That is what my being is operating as. I haven't done anything yet. So that's closer to what you were saying about sort of like go into the situation being compassionate sort of inside myself, and then it just comes out. I don't know if this is important to
it's an exploration.
Yeah.
So how do you know when you're not being compassionate?
Judgment, impatience, and thinking about how it affects me.
Right. So anything that doesn't feel good.
Yeah,
basically.
I think when this book has made me think, that Hold Me Tight book has got me thinking about when I don't feel like compassion is coming towards me.
Right.
And what I feel is judgment, criticism, and as like that what I am going through is affecting the other person, instead of an acknowledgement about how I'm being affected by it. So the other person is sort of pulling away the import of the experience I'm having by making it about them.
Right.
So if I'm at work and I am having a problem and my boss is like, this is going to affect the team, like now I'm feeling criticized, I'm feeling judged, and I'm feeling like, oh, now it's their problem. Like I was the one with the problem. I still have a problem. I need help on my problem before we can deal with your problem. That's what compassion is. Okay, let me put aside my own, however this is affecting me, and let me hold you. then we can come back to it later. Like once we get to solutioning, okay, then there's other aspects to this. But yeah, I think to answer your question, if somebody is, your alcoholic friend or whatever it is, like, am I thinking about myself? Is this how this affects me? Or like, oh God, now I have to X, or the story of it's always like this, or why does he do this to himself? Or that's obviously not compassion.
Right. Yeah.
Compassion is human being having human experience,
real time, here and now,
love. Period. I think it's something like that.
So I wonder, is greater compassion something you can cultivate? Like from a Buddhist tradition, how do you cultivate compassion?
Yeah, there's a meditation.
Right.
The Metta, Metta,
right.
Is a specific meditation where you basically a mantra of.
Is that the one that starts with you and then extends out into the neighborhood or into the city and state and country and world?
No, you usually do it for individuals. So there's depending on the order. I think traditionally you start with yourself, but in the West, because it's so hard for us to feel compassion, you do it last once you've like built up some momentum. But basically, it's been a while, but I think you think of someone who you sort of know casually, but don't have an intimate relationship with, like a neighbor that, you shovel their driveway and you say hi or whatever. And you say, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be free from suffering, I think is the third.
Yeah.
And you sort of do that enough that you really start feeling it. And then you do it with someone that you really care for. So a partner or a family member or something, someone that you have a strong relationship. And same thing, can you just get into like, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be free from suffering. Then you do it for someone that you don't like. Your nemesis, or you're the political person that you don't like, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
like, can you generate that for someone that you outside of the meditation
who looks like they don't deserve it?
Right.
Yeah.
And then, then can you do it to yourself? So, may I be happy? Can you close your eyes and just say, may I be happy? May I be healthy? May I be free from suffering? And again, I think where this is taught, in Thailand or whatever, I think they start with themselves.
Right.
Because, like, obviously that's the easy one, right?
Well, in theory.
Here it's not. So, you build up, okay, well, if I can find that desire for compassion for...
I'm trying to remember how they did it in the Buddhist place that I've been going to, where that starts. I think they start with the self. May I be free from, and then they extend out, but I don't remember now.
Yeah.
And they're... I was doing a bad job, but I don't remember where the monks are from now. There's different monks, different traditions, I guess, or slight. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's no one Buddhism, so
no.
There's lots of it. It doesn't really matter. Pick whichever one is the easiest.
Yeah. It does.
And start there and just build up to wherever you feel the most resistance, and hopefully you've got some momentum going. But
well, it's interesting though that there are. I mean, at least 3 schools of Buddhism.
Oh, there's
3,000 schools of Buddhism.
I don't know what the number is.
However
it's more
many
than 3.
it is. But compassion seems to be evident in all religions, in all philosophies too, right?
Ubiquitous.
Yes, ubiquitous. Yes, it is. So that's interesting, right? That it's something we're all aware of, or at least there's teaching around compassion in every culture in the world, and likely always has been in some way, shape, or form. I just think that's cool.
Yeah,
like it's a togetherness thing.
Yeah, it points to if everybody's coming up with the same story that this is important.
Maybe maybe we should be listening. Yeah, maybe we should be looking at this more. Eh? Yeah, it'd be an interesting experiment to take. Especially politics these days, and look at what's happening in the world through compassion. See how possible or impossible that would be, where one would land. Would your interpretation of things change? Would your perspective on things change if you brought compassion to everyone and everything that's going on?
Yeah,
not just the ones that you agree with.
Yeah, and there's always amazing stories. There's a documentary that was made, I think, in the last couple of years. It might be older, and I just heard about it with between an Israeli and a Palestinian.
Oh yeah,
who sort of got together and said, "We are going to." I haven't seen it. I don't know what it was, but it was a collaborative project on can we, instead of being more divisive, can we show what it's like to come together? Can we find examples of that? And there's always, in any conflict, there's stories
of course
like that.
Yeah.
And it points to that is a possibility in any, whether it's, an interpersonal relationship, whether it's me with the lady on the phone, whether it's with your partner or someone at work, or, whatever you're looking at. Conflict doesn't have to be the
default.
The default or the best,
right?
The optimal. You don't have to win. Can you come at it from that place of compassion?
Yeah, like what I said earlier. I think it just opens up forgiveness. It takes away those distinctions of right and wrong and me versus you, right? Like it's to me, it almost feels like compassion is an equalizing kind of force, right? Like, I'm alive. I recognize that you're alive, and I recognize that you're struggling, and I have struggled, and from there, I mean, there's no point in trying to rate an individual. My struggle is bigger than, more important than your struggle. It's like we've all struggled.
Olympics,
exactly. Yeah. Suffer Olympics, I like that. Yeah. Well, that was fun.
Yeah. So think about compassion a little bit. Can you feel compassion for yourself? Can you feel compassion? Think of, is there a relationship that's a little bit conflicted right now? Can you bring a little more compassion? Can you remind yourself that the other person is having their own experience just like you are and deserves the same compassion that you would want? And if compassion is hard to get to, start with patience.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's, I learned that in Buddhism. They talk about patience a lot. And, can you just be a little more patient, a little more open, less jumpy to get what you want?
Yeah. And that's nice. Yeah. And patience. What popped in was and if that word doesn't work, kindness is a good one.
Yeah.
Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I mean, it maybe is a little overly simplistic, but when we're kind to ourselves, it's easier to be kind to others, and like ripples. All right. Well,
be kind to each other.
Thanks very much, everyone. Yeah. Be kind to each other.
All right. Thanks. We'll see you on the next one.
All right. See you. Bye.